Fans or Philadelphia sports fans. It just adds to our angst.
Is that it?
You know, because then you start thinking about conjuring up images of Collar's Colangelo. You know, because when I think of Fultz, I think of Colangelo.
Well,
don't you?
Yeah.
And then you go to Barbara Bottini.
Yeah, and again, like...
And it's stuff I'd rather not
you had
think
people
about.
give him a standing ovation here in this fan base. You had people write columns and tweet and get on TV and the radio and say, you know, be patient. And what are you doing now? In the middle of January, when this wasn't even a conversation for months, now we take an isolated game and, attack the minority of a fan base? We attack we attack phone callers.
No, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm just saying, like, you know, Twitter exploded, and you know.
Well, Twitter has nothing better to do. You're using Twitter of all people.
Yeah, I know. I took a look at it last night. That's my problem.
That is as hypocritical as it gets.
I was a little bit, you know, I had some downtime.
Unbelievable.
You know?
Well, what happened with the Temple game?
Temple actually had a big second half and beat a ranked team.
Yeah, now that was something that
16th ranked Wichita. Stopped their losing streak.
And I'm pretty disappointed, though, that you didn't give us that ahead of time. That was a money line play, an outright play that you dropped the ball on. You've got
in hindsight, it is.
Well,
I didn't think they'd win.
You didn't think they would come out and win that basketball game?
No, I did not. Have you watched them play the last couple of weeks?
Well, think about it. You had a couple of big upset wins over the last couple of nights, and I thought that would be one of them that you would aptly predict.
Well, there's a couple ranked teams went down again last night.
That's what I'm saying. 2 straight nights.
Kentucky, right? Kentucky lost to South Carolina.
Yep.
Right?
Butler lost, and now
Seton Hall's a good. You know,
right.
I think they're ranked 18th.
Boy, I
beat Butler.
I got bit in the ass on that. Butler at one point, and again, I was watching, but I was watching it with mute on because I was doing the show, and this is what. Shame on me because I wasn't looking at the foul situation. I was just looking at the run that Butler made, or pardon me, Seton Hall made, and I was okay. They're at Butler. At some point, Butler's going to make. Butler dropped to minus a half point, in which I was like, all day, pound them, right? And then only until Seton Hall made that late run to take the lead, of course, the thing switched. But at that point, it was off the board. But I didn't realize, I was watching on mute, I didn't realize the foul situation. That you would count as an upset, though.
Oh, yeah, and Auburn got beat by Alabama last night, right?
I think Alabama was pretty much in control of that game.
Oh, they crushed them.
Wire.
Yeah, they crushed them.
Yeah, and that was a huge loss for Bruce Pearl's squad. But yeah, and we've seen this 2 straight nights. All right, look, I think the issue would be with the Philadelphia 76ers internally, what happened with the Nets last night, the fact that you saw, again, 3 quarters of basketball that needed to be bailed out by Tobias Harris and them on the defensive end as well. Issues didn't really go away. I mean, that should have been a team that they should have put away. Based off of losing 2 straight, no Joel Embiid, I understand that, but there's no reason why what they got in the fourth quarter shouldn't have been a consistent effort throughout.
How about Kyrie last night? 37 minutes, and he was a minus 29.
Yeah.
And he only got to the free throw line for 2 free throws.
He doesn't seem right.
No, he doesn't seem engaged.
Well, I don't think he's healthy, too.
Well, okay.
That's what I meant by that.
But he just doesn't seem engaged.
No, I will give you
fully.
that. I will give you that. And would you, if you knew, of course, that it's only a matter of time before Durant comes back and this team looks a little different now?
Does he come back this season?
No, next year.
Next year.
I mean, they're going to struggle to be 500 and be the 7 or 8 seed at best, depending on what happens with Orlando. But that's all I'm saying is the Sixers, I don't think, if you came into last night expecting some sort of drastic response to the idiots writing columns calling for Brett Brown to be fired, to the discussions.
Well, like you?
Yeah, exactly. Like other people out there pushing this whole thing.
What has been the feedback to the column outside of Kurt Heelan and his disappointment?
I think for the most part, outside of, I got a nice little, I would say, maybe I've muted so many people that are just trolling me that it seemed like it was pretty positive. But again, there are so many people out there that want Brett Brown fired now, and I had to explain, no, this is not about firing him now, it's about the end of the year.
Season,
right,
yeah.
And at the very least, even if they lose 15 in a row, he's deserving to finish the rest of the season. My point of it, though, is as far as the team itself, if you came into it last night, before the game even started, right, and forget what happened with Russell Westbrook, Markelle Fultz, anything else outside the NBA, Harry, and you are just concerned about this team losing 2 straight, Brett Brown, the message, all that, I don't know if last night did anything to move you. It like last night kind of kept me where I was. mainly because I wanted a margin of victory type win. I didn't want
You didn't want to sweat into the fourth quarter.
No, not against a team that I think you're marginally better than right now, even without Joel Embiid.
Even without Embiid?
Yes.
You think they're marginally, like,
I don't think the Nets are a good
significantly
team.
better or marginally better?
The Nets, I think they are, well, marginally is enough. No, I don't think significantly
Because
better.
the Nets gave them a pretty good series in the playoffs last year.
They did, but I think that was also based on a nice little run that they had, and it was not predicated on talent. And look, the Sixers underachieved in the playoffs. And if you look back at what happened in the second round, despite them taking the champs to the 7th game, the quadruple doink, in the first round, remember, Ben Simmons was booed. Remember, it took a little bit to get going. I don't think the Nets saw the Sixers at their best the entire series. The Raptors didn't get the Sixers even at their best the entire series, mainly because Embiid was sick.
Embiid was sick, yeah. Jeez. It's always something.
Well,
it's always something.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would be my big
Seriously.
Sixers takeaway today. Is not did they miss out on Markelle Fultz or anything along these lines. Even though I see that there's breaking news right now, this can't be true, right?
What do you mean?
There's an arrest warrant issued for
Odell
OBJ.
Beckham Jr.?
Now I'm going to say this has nothing to do with the LSU handing out money.
Out the cash.
Right?
No, I would think this would probably have something else that maybe happened in New Orleans.
You sure?
When he was out partying.
It has nothing to do. Oh, okay. Arrest warrant issued for OBJ following alleged contact with security guard at the Superdome.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Oh, come on.
So is this another
Michael Bennett alleged situation? Right. Allegations stem from an incident that took place inside the locker room at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Well, he was in the locker room afterwards.
He was. TMZ and other outlets have circulated the video on social media. TMZ described it as Beckham, quote, smacking the officers behind. Now
was the officer female or male?
It says backside of a security guard. Beckham is already in hot water. Let's see. I would need to actually see the video, right, in order to determine if this.
Well, I saw a video of him, or of Coach O, talking to the team after the game in the locker room, and OBJ like stepped on him.
Yes.
Like he's over there, off to the left, and he just starts yelling to the team while Coach O is still talking.
It looks like it's.
He had to have his moment. It's about him.
Correct. It does look. It's hard to tell.
What do you have? You have video?
Yeah, I do have video. I'm watching this. That does look like a male, right?
That looks like a guy, a security guy.
Okay, but again.
Right, so he's bent over, and there he just whacked him right on his rear end.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah. Now what's the point of
that? That guy. I mean, this security guard.
He's like 5'3".
Right.
Right.
Yes, he is.
He's in full uniform. He almost looks like he's in SWAT, like he's on the SWAT team.
Now, what is he? The security guard is accosting.
One of the players.
Correct. About something going on here. Like, you have something. Smoking cigars.
Smoking cigars. So is that illegal? That's frowned upon?
Remember Joe Burrow nearly got arrested for smoking his cigar.
You can
correct.
You can basically walk down Broad Street nude with everything hanging out, and it's fine. But you can't smoke a cigar.
Bourbon Street.
Or Bourbon Street. I'm sorry, I said Broad Street. You can
Technically,
do it Broad Street too.
There are places in Broad Street.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah, it happens every time in the Mummers Parade. Okay,
Yeah.
but you can't smoke a cigar in the Superdome locker room.
Well, that's enough to get you arrested, Harry.
That's ridiculous.
It's pretty bad, right? It's pretty bad. So now he is actually facing charges. Look, this is 10 times. The whole thing about the cash was just a driven storyline. About 40 people cared. So people on the morning TV show said, all right, you take this side, I'll take this side. Next thing you know, it became an issue. It wasn't an issue. Nobody was going to get in trouble for that. As far as the kids were concerned, nobody was going to get in trouble there either. It was just...
Well, if the kids are coming back to school, they stand a chance.
They stand a chance, but...
Stand a chance to get in
the
trouble.
likelihood of that happening, though, especially when you start to look at people talking about it from a legal standpoint, I mean, it would take a lot for them to push that.
And OBJ was making it about him.
Correct.
Again, okay?
But here's the thing, though. That wasn't even a story. It was just something created. This is a story. This is an actual storyline. All right, 609-403-0973. You can't do that.
See, OBJ can't have Antonio Brown get all the attention on social media.
You think that's what it is?
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure the cops are due to come to Hollywood, Florida, to his home again, probably later this week. for another round, right? Where he's going to go out there and film it and put it up on social media,
Right.
yelling at the cops and calling them all kinds of things.
Right.
So OBJ needs to get a little run here.
Okay, I see what you're saying. He needs to keep up.
Yeah.
Let's get Tom in Summers Point on the line. We'll get to the text board, 609-403-0973. Again, live on Twitch, Mays and Aton. The tweets are coming in as well. At Harry Mays to you and at Shander Show. What's up, Tom?
Tom.
What's that? Hold on. You got to start over. We missed the first part of what you said.
Start over. Oh, okay.
Yes, now we got
it.
We didn't get it the first time.
Okay. Pay attention, fellas.
Hey, Tom, you weren't up. We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you.
All
It
right.
wasn't your fault. The mic.
Well, okay. Listen, I heard Tom, you're up next. Okay, so, all right, so here's the thing, now. I don't want to sell a secret, but Beckham Jr., you know who ruined him confident when he, in that game against the Panthers, and he's fighting with the Josh Newman, defensive back, it happens once. Guess what? The second time, Coffin should have threw his little butt on the bench and said, you're not going back and get we can't have this. And that was the beginning of the end of Odell Beckham. Sorry. Anyway, let's talk Sixers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say the Sixers play discipline? Would you say they play discipline?
Defensively, I think you see them play way more disciplined than not, yeah. With Joel Embiid in there.
Offensively, like, what's that offense they're running? Listen.
It's been the same offense they've been running for years.
Well, guess what? It ain't working. Because how come in the fourth quarter, Ethan, and B's not under the basket taking the game over? He's out there shooting three. I mean, listen, same story. The coach, they need a coach because this is a young team. Opposite of the Phillies. The Phillies had the coach Kaplan. He wasn't the right coach for that team. They had enough federal players. Well, Sixers are just the opposite. This team needs an authority figure like that. Listen, grade the game. Beef, honor the fact he's taking over. And Ben Simmons, his acting never going to change. And we paid him how much money? It's ludicrous. These players are just it's like street ball, and it ain't working. I'm sorry. And it ain't never going to work with the coach there. My opinion.
All right, well, we appreciate your opinion, Tom.
Aton agrees with you.
Well, I don't agree. No, hold on a second. You just took the end to his point, and because we share the same end,
The end.
reduced
Yeah. Well,
it down to the same means.
Isn't
as
that
well.
all that it's
No,
about?
no.
It's about the end?
No. I think that you are completely erasing a ton of nuance in how to get there. In fact, I don't think that by firing Brett Brown, you slam the door on a failed error and say, all right, now it's time to move on from a coach who couldn't get it right here. I think that's part of the process and part of the term of moving forward, and the team, Elton Brand and everybody else, finally coming to grips. If it's Stan Van Gundy or John Beeline or anybody else coming to grips with...
John Beeline.
I know, I said that for comedic purposes.
Okay.
But whoever it is struggling with the same thing, and if it is somebody who does not have that personal relationship with Ben Simmons, finds themselves calling him out in the media. I mean, think about that. That's where I'm looking at down the line, which is 2 years from now, Stan Van Gundy is, this is now coming into my brain right here. 2 years from now, we're dealing with Stan Van Gundy calling out Ben Simmons in the media.
For what? For not shooting?
Exactly. For not executing a play at the end of the game that called for him to get a wide open shot in the corner.
Oh, so he drew up a play, and it was designed to get Ben a shot, and they didn't run the play?
Or Simmons improvised.
passed out.
Simmons improvised, and the shot goes in and out, so it's a good look. Korkmaz, it rims in, it rims out. Sixers lose. Stan Van Gundy doesn't give a crap. I know, I've met the guy and worked with him. I know he doesn't give a crap. So he'll come out, he'll call out Simmons. Simmons is like, what? This is my team. I'm the superstar here. This is the NBA. My agent, my shoe company, we run this thing. You don't. And next thing you know, you have this big blow-up that needs to be smoothed over. And it's not going to be smoothed over by Elton Brand sitting both of them down in the same room and saying, all right, let's get it all out. It's going to take moving on. It's going to take all these drastic issues. Yes. And that's my point. It's either another coach or it's going to be moving on from one of the two players. And I don't know if that's realistic, but it's not. That's what I'm saying, Tom. It's not, hey, Brett Brown can't do it. It's this situation is such a catch-22 ball and knocks that's impossible to move. I don't know what you do outside of what the NBA dictates you do, which is you burn through coaches.
Well, here's my question regarding Stan Van Gundy. Would he still be available to do Wednesdays on the Levitard show as the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers?
I don't think so.
No?
No, because when he took over for Detroit, the responses from texts and emails were nil, flatlined.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I think once he went into full coach mode,
So he's no longer the entertainer.
Now listen, I'm not Dan Levitard, so I can't speak for Dan.
Right.
Dan has a lot more pull in that.
Because that's actually a pretty good feature. I used to enjoy that when I'd be able to watch and listen.
I admittedly haven't heard it, but I can
Stan
only
on
imagine.
I think it was Wednesdays. he used
I
to
can
have
only
them.
imagine.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Now look, you can disagree with his stance on the tank. I do. You can disagree with his criticisms of the Philadelphia front office for tanking. I do. You can disagree with his coaching philosophies at times on the floor. I do. But I'm just telling you personally, and you say it as far as the segment with Dan Levitard, we would have him
He's
on
an interesting
every
guy.
week. Man, 5 minutes into the conversation, we'd be talking about trademarking something in China. We'd be talking about a new piece of technology
Now, when
coming
was
out of
this?
Florida when I was on NBC Sports
Oh,
Radio.
okay.
He was a weekly guest with us, and it was amazing. You would just say, "Hey, Stan, I don't know if you saw this thing. Oh, yeah, remind
He's
me
got
of this."
something on everything,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I remember we had this huge thing for Dial Global, if that thing is still around. I don't know if Dial Global still is.
I don't know.
They were behind NBC Sports Radio, and there was this big introductory thing. They had all these superstars. Amani was there, Rodney, everybody was there, shaking hands and stuff. Stan was there. And I was just sitting in the corner with Schwartzman, right?
Jeez.
And Van Gundy comes over, and poor Stan, he had no idea what he was getting himself
Hey,
into.
Stan.
Exactly. Poor Stan comes over there thinking he could blend in and not have to talk to anybody.
Schwartzman's going to bend
Exactly.
his ear for an hour.
Bangs
Yeah.
my elbow and
Yep.
says, "I'm hanging here with you guys."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's, "So Stan,
Oh, Stan.
I have a question." And that, I was just like, "Oh,
That becomes another question. And another. And another. So slapping a backside is called simple battery.
yeah."
Wow.
Well, think about it.
it.
If it was a female police officer, he'd be in a ton of trouble.
Right.
So if this person feels violated or feels belittled, then as much as I would say, big deal, there are battles that I'm willing to fight. This ain't one of them.
Now maybe the cop goes and gets a signed jersey, some signed cleats, a
think
helmet,
so?
and all that kind of stuff. They do that deal, and then he just drops the charge.
Yeah, could be.
What do you think?
Well, you know what? We'll see. Maybe Jeff McClain has some thoughts on this. Poor Jeff. 1 o'clock. Back after this.
You're listening to the Maze and Aton Show, presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com and get the help you need with your wet basement.
You know that Mostert guy was on the Eagles.
Raheem?
Yeah.
Practice squad?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think the Dolphins signed him off of their practice squad. He was undrafted free agent. Eagles picked him up, signed him after the draft, and then had him on the practice squad. He had a great preseason. Like, he kicked ass. Sort of like Ortega-Whiteside had a great preseason. And then they just stuffed him on the practice squad. Miami signed him like a month later.
Wow,
And then
okay.
he just kept moving around, and now he's found a home, and he looks really good. He went to Purdue.
Purdue?
Yeah, he's a Purdue guy. I don't like that Tom.
He's
annoying.
belligerent.
He's annoying.
Don't worry, up to $500 will be returned on site credit. We use the app all the time. It's so easy.
All the time is right. I'm telling you, got the NFL playoffs, you got NBA action every night of the week. I mean, you just sit there in your lair on your lazy boy and just 2 keystrokes and you're in.
It's that easy. It's that simple. ParksCasino.com/PA.
I want the turnpike today. I wouldn't have made it here probably. I went the other way.
Sweet for a risk-free bet up to $500. ParksCasino.com.
Got off at Willow Grove and took Turwood Road to Paper Mill and came in back by that 9 holes that you play all the time. The
C9,
other
yeah.
9,
Yeah.
the C9 or whatever they call it.
There's nobody out there.
No,
so, right?
no.
I was trying, but it was too windy.
Yeah, it's 47 degrees, but the wind makes it feel like it's like 30.
Especially if the sun isn't out.
Yeah.
I walked from the Target back here when I dropped my car off, and it was
What's
nice.
hard to target?
no, it's at the Firestone.
Oh.
So, just to get looked at. But that's the thing is, I was walking back and it was like really warm out, and I took my hat off and
You walked all the way from 611 to here?
Yeah, it's only like, just look.
But there's no sidewalk, is there, on
So
Welsh
I was
Road?
only on Welsh for like, I was only on Welsh. You know where that stop sign that fucks everybody up is, where you don't really need to stop
Yeah.
going right?
Yeah.
That's where I got on Welsh. So I was
Right.
only on Welsh from there to there. But yeah, it's
Kind of dangerous.
it was. But there is a little bit of a stretch where you can walk in between. Like there is somewhat of a lane. 2 different police trucks passed. I didn't see them. So.
This massage is beneficial for athletes, those who sit or stand for long periods of time, people with multiple sclerosis.
It's only like 2 miles though.
And many other muscle
1.2 miles. That's it.
problems. Call ISSAN-massage.com to 15
So now I gotta get they want me to get like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit to keep track of my, in other words, the Apple Watch apparently has an
Send it to them?
EKG
Yeah.
like setting on it. You can download and check your EKG and all your heart rate and all the whole fucking schmear.
Yet his approach to law is rather simple: to serve each and every client until justice has been served. Get connected with Adam at Malamut Law, and let the power of Malamut and Associates represent you when it matters most.
That was wrong.
Malamut and Associates, South Jersey's best.
Dan Rust, oh great.
No, what?
He just liked the tweet that we were mentioning, so he's resurfaced with the Odell Beckham Jr. crap. You can just imagine he'll have a LinkedIn post about it and then be asking us to come on the show to talk about it. He's annoying. I was listening to Anthony for a few minutes. Jesus.
Today?
Yeah. Whenever he refers to Andrew now, it's Tunis. So he lets Tunis into the show by telling him basically Tunis what he sort of like Mike does with Tyrone, and then Tunis is allowed to speak.
Sure. Well, it's
about
basically the copy and paste.
it basically is without a Natalie. There's no Natalie on that show.
It's just the 2 of them.
It's just the 2 of them. Yeah, there's no updated person. It's the same. It is the same format though.
Sometimes that means giving you more control over your decisions. The Care Cost Estimator from Independence Blue Cross helps you make the choices that are right for you. In giving one more way, we are helping members throughout the Philadelphia region make better, more informed.
Was it? Is there anything even compelling or no?
No.
Is help when you need it most. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at IDX.com.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the second floor of the
It's pretty funny that he does that.
Huh?
Pretty funny that he does that with the same thing that Mike's doing.
Yeah.
offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups.
You can tell he's so glad that Jason's not on the show anymore.
Every guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for power
It's
lunch,
pretty obvious.
happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At Davio's, it's all about the guest.
You're listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
Jeff McClain's going to join us at 1 o'clock. We also have a busy weekend, really, if you look at the McGregor-Cerrone fight, the Sixers. I know you're all jacked up about the Flyers.
Well, I'm going to watch some of the game tonight. I mean, last night I was flipping around a lot. There was a lot on last night. I mean, you had Sixers and Flyers, and then I college basketball and so forth. It was a good night for sports. Tonight, I think it's pretty much Flyers only. What's the NBA game tonight on TNT?
It's not a bad one by any means. I don't know why you would just downplay everything here in the NBA tonight.
Well, what is it?
Well, I'll tell you, as far as the TNT game is
Yeah.
concerned, at 8 o'clock you've got Boston and Milwaukee. Now,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe Jason Tatum sat out yesterday, right?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good game then.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll watch some of that.
So Milwaukee's a 9.5-point home favorite.
Wow.
Boston's not great on the road, but still 9.5 points to cover against the Celtics.
Yeah, that's,
Again,
that's pretty steep, but I'll watch some of that.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
going to watch some of the Flyers tonight.
Are you going to listen to the Flyers? They're on right here.
No,
Where's their
I
high
mean-
school football first?
I don't know. High school basketball.
Basketball,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I don't know. Next Thursday night, we got a screwball show.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I think it's the final one.
Well, the season has pretty much
Well, yeah.
come to its end. 10:30, Denver at Golden State.
Yeah, I won't be. No, I'm not staying up for that.
What you could watch though at 10:30 is Orlando and the Clippers. Now we'll see if in fact that magic, no pun intended, can be sprinkled on 2 nights in a row. Let's see what
Well,
happens against the Clippers tonight.
Is that on TNT?
No, that's the TNT game. Is the Denver Golden State?
Well, then how would I watch the other one?
Well, you could watch it a bunch of ways. I'm sure that it's on. First off, you can do it illegally on a stream.
No, I don't do that. No.
Well, you can also watch it on some sort of one of these expansive channels, right? So it's not doesn't even have to be the NBA, but it could be like Fox Sports West or whatever the hell it might be that carries the Clippers. I'm sure you have. If you have the sports package, don't you have the sports package?
I
on
have
cable?
some sort of sports
Yeah.
package.
I'm sure you have an expansive one where it's not Fox Sports locally here. It's like every individual regional one, and I'm sure at that point you'll find that game on at late night. It's either going to be that or like UW playing basketball.
It'll be too much work.
You think so?
Yeah, I'll be in bed by then.
That's a shame that they can't flex that game, isn't it?
I'd rather see, based on Fultz's night last night. Let's show the late game. Let's show Clippers and Magic.
There's 5 games tonight. There were bad ones.
Yeah.
And the only one that has any redeeming quality would be the 8 o'clock one. But there you have it. Now you also have another story here that we need to get to the bottom of, and we might have to bring Josh in on this because it connects 2 worlds, maybe the only 2 worlds that exist with Josh.
Ooh.
Well,
Let's
the
define
third
those.
third one is radio, but I don't think that's
yeah.
my choice.
No, that's That's just
Right.
obligatory.
Right.
Okay.
So what would they be? What would be the 2 worlds? And you just
Marvel comic book movies.
Yes, movies.
Yeah.
Expand out. It's an easy one. Right?
Okay.
Movies
and
what's the other thing he's
going to
done?
the gym, weightlifting,
exercise.
steroids.
Well, not that far, right? But in this case, I saw this story. According to a study conducted by the University College London, if you prefer sitting in a movie theater as opposed to, let's say, a bicycle seat, you're in luck, according to this new study, claiming that seeing a movie is just as good for your heart as going to the gym is. Now, what they did, they hooked up biometric sensors to 50 people watching the live action version of Aladdin. The sensors indicated their heart rates climbed between 40 and 80% for about 45 minutes of the movie, which is what happens when someone takes part in, quote, light exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a walk or gardening also qualify as light exercise.
All right. Well, what about watching porn? That
Well-
probably puts your heart rate up.
That's probably
Right.
the equivalent of running a half marathon.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could break a sweat watching
Sure.
porn. I don't know if you can break a sweat sitting in the. Now, what happens? They use the live action version of Aladdin. If I'm in the theater, my heart rate is jumping because I'm so upset I'm watching that crap.
Right.
Not because I'm reacting to any storyline.
I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the straitjacket that somebody put me in and sat me in the seat to watch that movie.
Well, yeah, you signed up for this study,
Right.
remember?
Yes.
Now, that can't be true, right?
No.
There's nothing
That
about
sounds like fake news. That's clickbait.
And think about it. That doesn't mean that, like, just increasing your heart rate doesn't get you in shape.
No.
But movement and activity, things like that, that would be associated with light exercise.
Right.
This,
I'm calling fake.
Me too.
we should be doing this once a day.
Me too, because sitting around doing amphetamines and sitting down gets your heart rate up, but
That's
it's
right.
not good for you.
But technically,
I have 2 serious problems with this story. The first problem is, why are we using Aladdin as the barometer?
well, that's what I meant, right?
Yeah, that's part of the issue.
We already know that the placebo baseline for this study is completely and utterly flawed. This is an excuse for some imbecile to go watch a movie for free. So let's start with that. Number 2, your heart rate has nothing to do with exercise.
And fitness,
Exercise
right.
is about the working of the muscles and the joints and the body as a whole.
Right.
Anything can elevate your heart rate. Like you guys said, you could do drugs, you could go to the doctor.
Right. And you could be sedentary, sitting in a chair all afternoon, but your heart rate is up because you've got
Be anxious about
right, you got stuff in your system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the idea that your heart rate is equivalent to exercise is utterly, completely flawed, stupid, and uneducated.
Mhm.
Frankly.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's misleading. Totally.
Absolutely.
Now, where did you find that?
It's an excuse for somebody to go watch a free movie. That's what this whole stuff
This
was.
this came on my topic, my post.
Oh, your topic
Yeah,
tree?
the one that I made with my ridiculous column. That's what I'm saying. This specifically caters stuff for what's around in our market, what could be trending, what could be going viral, and you get those. That's where I found the story yesterday about the guy who alleged to have been locked inside the now no longer 24-hour fitness.
Listen,
That was fake news.
I watch Bad Boys for Life or I watch Aladdin, okay?
Well, that's the other thing is we didn't get to this yesterday, but the story that I had about a certain aroma, and I wanted to see if this interests you. Apparently, you've heard of Gwyneth Paltrow, right?
Yes.
She's a little kooky. Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right. Apparently, there's a candle. You can now buy a candle that smells like Gwyneth's vagina. Does that interest you?
I don't know what that would smell like,
Well,
because there's such a wide range
Well, I know.
of smell that could be coming out of that
Could be
specific.
really bad.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
know what I'm saying?
Like I don't.
I mean, we need to get Brad Pitt to verify this.
That's why you have specific flavors or colors associated
Like
with
vanilla, a vanilla
exactly,
candle or
exactly.
something, right?
So go vanilla vagina, go whatever, lavender vagina, go something like that, to where you're not just saying it, because it's an open-ended thing. And look, it would be the same as if Tom Cruise came out and said, I have a candle that smells like my scrotum.
Mm-hmm.
You would want something specific, like
My
okay,
Musk. Like
not Elon Musk.
No.
Right?
Right.
Unless he came out with it as well, and that would be confusing. Musk is Musk?
Musk's Musk.
Oh, man, now
Elon's Musk.
Elon's
No,
Musk.
that's better.
I
That,
like
that
that.
actually sounds good.
Somebody
I
needs to
would
get
want
that
it,
in
but
front of
Elon's
them.
Musk is a
Elon's
good-
Musk
yeah.
is a great candle. Now, that would be one of those big 3-wick, tri-wick candles, right?
Is that what they call him? Tri-Wick?
No, that's just what I mean, you see
Not
that there.
John Wick.
No, not John Wick 3.
That's true.
Yeah,
See?
there is
See
a
what I
third
did
one.
there?
I see that. I see it. Not the third.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really? They're just going to ride this thing until it dies, huh? How many John Wicks?
This thing's a Keanu died.
Think about this. All right, let's put the over-under right now. What's the over-under on Wick movies made? You're going to have 4 that's already coming out next year. I'll set it at 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Under.
You think it dies with 4?
Yeah.
I think it dies with 5. I think they get the
5?
And they realize it's going to bust once they get the 5.
5.
Because 3 is a good number, but then at the ridiculous cliffhanger at the end of 3, they have to do 4 now. They've already announced they're writing it in pre-production. So you're like, all right, well, it's kind of like any type of movie. No matter how much you love a movie or a series of movies or stories, at some point the story's gotta end, man.
Look, you're preaching to the choir. The fact that they squeezed 4 out of this already is amazing to me.
Well, what's the one, the fast car series?
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. How many of those are?
Well, they have spin-offs now. That's the thing.
Spin-off, but they're coming up on 9. They had to do the spin-off to fill the date that was reserved because of the fact that half the actors can't get along with each other and they're all in contract.
Well, the one guy died, right? Didn't he
Yeah.
die during one of the production of one of the series?
Well, he died
After-
the movie was
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, he died in a personal situation.
Right, it wasn't
Not shooting.
related to the movie, but then they released that series or that particular movie after he had passed.
Yeah,
right?
after Paul Walker read.
The scenes are
But I still think, what is it? God, it's the name of a movie that was similar to that Gregory Hines, Billy Crystal movie, Running Scared. Is that the name of it? Paul Walker. Man, that was his best film for me. I think, yeah, Running Scared is the name of the movie.
This Gwyneth Paltrow is really into vagina.
Well, that's how this whole thing started,
Yeah.
right? And then it went to Musk's Musk and
Right.
Elon's Musk.
I just want to know, guys, is there a market this?
I
Yes,
probably.
somebody. Here's the thing.
So there's a candle market of people who want to smell other people.
Other people's private parts.
Vagina.
Yeah,
Is that really where we're at?
yeah.
Okay, and
And
here's
he's
the
got
thing.
the bone.
Yeah.
though.
Here's the thing, though. 2 types of people immediately buy this. One, a creep.
Yeah, perverts, creeps.
Absolutely.
Right.
And the same person who's waiting for the next porn star to release their half-molded ass so that they can do whatever the hell they want with it.
Violated in all kinds of
Exactly,
different
right.
ways in different states.
Exactly.
Yes,
Has
yes.
ordered 60 of these on Amazon.
Right.
And then there's also the host of the party, and it could be a man or a woman, this is not gender specific, who wants to show off and say, "Ah, look,
Yes.
I have the new Gwen," either as a
right.
joke or as something super pretentious.
Yeah.
And that's going to land a
Right.
bunch of orders as well.
Right. Come into my lair. Notice the nice aroma.
That's right.
Can you guess that aroma?
That's right.
Jeez.
A fourth floor stall with a very good observation here on Twitter. Harry.
On the Gwyneth Paltrow situation?
No, on the Neil Armstrong and heart rate situation.
Oh.
But I am curious to see how many people would actually buy this.
I don't even know what it costs.
Like, I don't want to buy it just to smell it. Can't you go into
right.
a Yankee Candle store and open up the top of the lid and smell it anyway?
Well, Gwyneth has made a candle called "This Smells Like My Vagina" because, well, of course she has. It is priced at a comparatively bargain. Looks like 58 pounds. What would that convert to? 58 pounds.
I think, like, it's less dollars, right?
Is it?
No, it's higher.
I
It's
thought
higher.
it's higher, like
It
about
is, it is.
$100.
So 48 pounds, probably, I'm going to guess $70.
58 pounds.
58 pounds. $75,
Yeah.
$80, something
Wow.
like
That's a lot.
that. 75, 82.
That's a lot, man. 75.82
Mm-hmm.
for something that's eventually going to burn out and disappear.
Yep.
No shot. No shot.
I'm curious to see what happens here. And it's crazy as,
She's a kook.
yeah, how many people do you think are actually buying this right now? You think, I don't know, you can ask McLean if he's interested in buying
No,
it.
I'm not going to ask Jeff McLean that. No way. He'll never come on again. We haven't had him on in forever. It's been a
No?
long time.
Is it?
Yeah. I
And
think we
he
were
still
I think we were-
decided to come back?
I know. I think maybe he thinks it's a different show.
It's true.
Because this has been since I think we were back at your old apartment.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was
I
all-
thought we had him on, maybe we were at Parks, which will be there tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. He'll join us at 1 o'clock.
At Philly Guy 79, Shander Show with Harry Mays on 97.3 ESPN. On break, please go listen to when Harry first asked the question about the candle. The silence is so good, I thought the app crashed. Priceless. Completely agree with Harry. Big win for the Flyers last night. Well, there you go. You had
There you
somebody
go.
jumping on.
Is that PT?
No, that's not PT.
Back after this.
Listen to Mays and Aton anywhere. You serious? Download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app now. 97.3ESPN.com.
Tokyo Drift, huh?
Here's a great tweet. Did you see this?
No, what's that?
We got to do this when we come back. Bruno's cousin goes, I bought the Lizzo candle
Oh,
at
yeah,
Five
yeah.
Below.
That's great. I actually just saw that. That's pretty ridiculous. That's really funny, though.
All that and the Sports Bash. Weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 ESPN. South Jersey's sports leader.
Derailed Insurance wants to
Um,
save you 40% on your car insurance right now, and they will do it today. Here's managing partner Jim Yulman. A lot of people pay a lot more.
No, buddy. You gotta hang out still. I know you know that sound.
To justify what they're paying. There's no charge for the complimentary insurance.
Why aren't you at daycare, dude?
2 days in a row.
Oh.
You should be good.
Advocate, not a broker.
You're okay. You gotta wait a little bit.
IGI.com.
Lay down.
Or simply call Jim at 215-354-0122.
No.
That's
boy.
215-354-0122.
You gotta come over here, huh?
Clients that think that I, as an independent agent, charge a fee versus going direct to Geico or going direct to Progressive. We do not charge a fee.
Let Derailed Insurance save you up to 40% on your car insurance. Get your complimentary review. Call Jim Yulman
So, Gargano was making the case about the Sixers need to go bring back J.J. Redick.
Bring back
Bring
JJ
back
Redick?
J.J. Redick. Make a trade for J.J. Redick.
Just to trade?
No, they don't need him. You're getting Zion back. Oh, God.
Oh, man. I can't even imagine. What's that place like right now?
I don't know, man.
Inside the building.
It's gotta be really bad. It's gotta be pretty bad. I heard the morale at KYW was really bad.
Really?
Terry Donahue sent me a text. He knows he's no longer there, but he knows. Still keeps in touch with
Kristen
people.
has been in the real
Says
estate
it's really
business
bad.
for 20 years and specializes
Huh.
in buyers,
The
sellers,
ratings are
and
down, and
investors.
people are
You can call Kristen directly at the Keller Williams Realty Group.
Shut.
215-429-4441.
Is there going to be change?
I don't know.
Is that why people are down?
I don't know, maybe.
Kristen Thompson, the real estate advocate who will work tirelessly on your behalf while ensuring
saw-
the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
They're moving too, though, right? Everybody's
Yeah,
moving.
they're all moving.
For basement, crawl space, and foundation problems. They have over 30 patented products, including unique insulation packages and great warranties too. Family-owned.
They're moving like now. I think like this week. I think is the last week at the other location.
What are you waiting for? Call
No, tomorrow or today, I think is.
Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I saw them post that.
4808 or visit dryguysonair.com. Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to dryguysonair.com.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American Pub locations in Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville. Go to thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football mean your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Mays and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
If you're a golfer looking to pick up a few strokes
Jeff
on the
T got
golf
traded,
course,
huh?
you should add these 4 words
Did he?
into your
Yeah.
Jordanian lifestyle.
Again?
Professional, Thai, yoga,
Traded a couple
massage.
times.
A Thai massage is relaxing and energizing without oil and designed to increase your flexibility.
They traded Alan Crabb in 2016.
He's been moved a bunch of times too.
They traded Teague in 2016 for Taurine Prince. They traded Prince last year for two draft picks and Alan Crabb, and now they're trading Crabb for Jeff Teague.
Crab was with Portland originally, and then lost.
No.
He went to
Yeah.
Atlanta as a free
Portland.
agent.
No, then
No,
he-
the
the
Nets.
Nets.
The Nets. That's right.
The Nets gave him money.
Right, and then they moved him to Atlanta, and now he's moving where?
Well, Teague was on what, Memphis?
Minnesota.
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 Yeah.
There's certain guys that just keep getting moved. Like Tobias Harris was one of those guys.
Yeah. Fucking Sixers last night, man. I never rooted for them harder.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to be on Fox 29 6:45 this morning if they lost.
Oh.
And I just thought, like, they're going to win, no problem. Like, and, I'm fucking exhausted. Like,
Yeah.
the last thing I want to
you want to do.
Easy. The perfect place to stay to check off any New Year's resolution.
That isn't easy to get to for me. You go over to 95 to go down, I guess.
I take, I take,
Byberry and
well,
all
it
that.
becomes Philmont. I take Philmont to Byberry, to Evans, to Woodhaven, to 95, yeah.
Pain in the rear end.
Yeah, well, that's a problem. At that point, it definitely becomes a pain. Fucking Butler, man. But I hit the Sixers at minus 158 and plus 102.
Wow.
2 times over. Oh, and then also at I got him at plus 160. So, last night, starting the 4th quarter, Nets get a bucket to go up 6. And at that point, the Sixers were plus 160, Harry. In game.
Did you jump in and grab it?
Well, I had already gotten them at minus 150 earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 105 in game as well. And then at that point, just because I was like, hey, I'm already in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you exactly when this was here. Last night, plus 160. And that was right when they extended it to 6 points the next day. I think either the Sixers missed their opening possession or the Nets just scored on their opening possession in the 4th quarter, and that pushed it to a 6-point game. So at one point in game, if you were paying attention there, in the 4th quarter at least, you had the Sixers at plus 160 on the money line.
Wow.
There's no way they were losing that basketball game last night.
No. Especially at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where you go with the whole in-game knowing your team.
Right. I mean, had that been on the road, you're
Then I
thinking
would've
you're
pounded
thinking
the other
you would have
squad.
taken the Nets,
Exactly right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the ultimate crux there as well, is if you're at home, you ride it. If you're on the road, you stay the hell away. Mention this Jeff Teague thing before we broke. Dan Wolkin has tweeted this out. Just a little timeline for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta traded Jeff Teague in 2016 for the draft pick that became Taurine Prince.
He was from Baylor, I believe. Prince.
Atlanta then traded Prince
Right.
last year for 2 draft picks and Alan Crabb.
Okay, Crabbe was with the Nets after being with the Blazers, and the Nets paid him a bunch of money in free agency, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Atlanta just traded Alan Crabb now for Jeff Teague.
So they brought him back.
They had him in 2016.
Mhm.
They had him. They traded him, and now it's even the commodities they traded. Think about how ridiculous and intertwined this whole thing is. They didn't even keep Prince. They moved Prince for 2 draft picks and Crab. So ultimately, they got 2 draft picks and now a rental.
Wow.
Pretty crazy,
Some
right?
teams, you just like scratch your head in the NBA with some of the moves, some of the trades. You're just like, what's the end game here? Like, what are they trying to accomplish?
That I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I really don't.
In that sport, more than any other sport,
Yes.
does that happen?
Yes. I think so.
You know?
I
Where
think
you're
you're
just
right.
like, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to build, like, what's the philosophy
What's
behind
the-
this?
yeah.
Like,
Well, you have a young player in Trae Young. How much do you want to continue to try and build around that, or are you going to be 4 or 5 years down the line and you're going to have the Anthony Davis situation in New Orleans?
mm-hmm.
Why the hell
Right.
would Trae Young stay in Atlanta at all? Somebody's going to come calling for him after this contract. Think about it, whoever it is, if it's somebody like LeBron who is now
How old would
32,
he be?
33. No, but I'm saying it could be the next version, like 2 years down the line, 3
Okay.
years down the line, where LeBron is now somebody who's like 32 becomes 35, 36.
So Kawhi Leonard,
Maybe. How old is Kawhi? He's younger than that.
he's late 20s, right?
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
I'm saying he'd be the
Could be.
32-year-old guy.
Could be the Clippers
Yeah,
coming calling and saying, "What the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You come over here and you play with us." That's the whole thing on there. At Shander Show, 609-403-0973,
Now,
at
have you-
Harry Mays TU.
Have you bet any hockey yet?
Nope. I'll tell you.
Not at all.
Nope. I did tweet this out earlier today. The only thing that I could not sleep last night, and I was looking at the Watch Live feature, and I was going back to my days in which I played competitive juniors tennis at the Ivan Lendl Club.
Yvonne Lendl
Yeah,
Club?
yeah, Yvonne Lendl. I saw the guy twice. He had his
Yeah.
own name. He had a name on the club in Connecticut or over the border in New York
He
State.
went into bike racing too
Westchester.
after his tennis
Did
career.
he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was watching a little bit of the tennis game match last night, the Australian Open.
Really?
Yeah, and I saw an opportunity, Harry, and I jumped on it.
What did you grab?
All right, in match.
Don't tell me you laid more than 130.
No.
All right.
As far as odds or money,
As far as money line, like on an odds for
in match,
Match.
Heather Watson found herself down to Elise Mertens, and I rode the Heather Watson wave at plus 575 in game.
is that right?
Yep. Well,
Heather
20
Watson.
Heather Watson.
Not
came-
Bubba Watson.
Nope. No relation either.
No.
I checked ahead of time
I
in
bet you
case
don't-
you brought up Bubba.
Do you know what she looks like?
Well, I tweeted at her.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I said, great job, great match. I think it's Heather Watson 92, something
Mm.
like that. Yeah, absolutely. She played exceptionally well this morning and won me a little money.
Wow.
Yeah. So no, the answer to your question is no. I did not bet. I don't have the knowledge and stones to do that. The only time I bet hockey is when I'll bring Hunter in on my NHL version of the big board on the other show,
Right.
and he'll give a couple of hockey plays.
On one of the other
Yeah.
shows.
Well, he went 3-0
Oh,
Tuesday
yeah?
night. Yeah, he gave. You know what he did? He locked in the Penguins with Sidney Crosby's return
Mm-hmm.
at minus 1.5.
Crosby had like 4
He
points in
did.
that game,
He
didn't
did. Right.
There's a great tweet from Bruno's cousin talking about the Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle. He says, I just bought the Lizzo candle. Got it at $5 Below.
That's great. That is great. I didn't realize that those were on the market. Wow. Now, see, think about this. Gwyneth Paltrow is opening up a door that I do not need open.
This is a whole new marketplace. Think about it.
No.
You might want to get involved in this.
I am not. I am not involved. It's not going to happen.
Shander THC sweat candle. What do you think?
Actually, you know,
You know what I'm saying?
That's not bad.
You might be able to get a contact high
Just by smelling it.
just by smelling the candle.
And you could see, like, in the making of the candle, there's me in the back, like, draining my
draining
sweat.
your shirt.
Every candle has an ounce of sweat.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the
No
Great
shirt.
American Pub. Catch the
Yankees
game at
trading
any of the
Aroldis
three
Chapman to
Great
the
American
Cubs
Pub
for
locations.
Gleyber
Watch a
Torres,
hockey
only to
game
be
and
signed
tickets
Chapman
still.
months
Go to
later in free agency.
thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football mean your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Mays and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
Dry Guys of South Jersey wants to know if you have sticking doors and windows. If so, it could be a foundation problem, and this family-owned business wants to help. They use over 30 patented products and warranties that will repair bowing and will replace cracked and leaky foundation walls. If your home is settling, Dry Guys will give you a lift.
Why is
Call
Jessica Mendoza?
844-470-4808.
She ripped the guy for blowing the whistle.
Oh, fired? Mike Fires?
Yeah.
Isn't he with the A's?
Yeah.
Go to dryguysonair.com.
Heard it work? Go right now to injuredworkers.com. When you're injured on the job, your family is injured as well. Turn to a firm of legal attorneys that can help, that care, and that you can count on. Go to injuredworkers.com from Malamut and Associates. Nobody plans to get injured. When it happens, you need injuredworkers.com. Get the help you need from injuredworkers.com. Go to injuredworkers.com right now. Philadelphia Real Estate Classes, the premier real estate school in Philadelphia. For courses to get your real estate license, continuing education, and more, go to PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. They offer affordable pricing in various locations, including a free licensing course with a $150 down payment to get you started. Total cost is only $499, including the book. Day, night, and weekend courses too. Call 215-335-6919 or go to PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Get your license now.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the second floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Rittenhouse. At Davio's, it's all about the
Davio's.
guest. Davio's offers private dining
Drop
rooms
that check
available
off.
for large and small groups. Gracious
Where?
hospitality
To
and
Joe's
an
house
dining room
yesterday.
staff provide every guest an exceptional experience.
And then he pays us later, I guess, right?
Join us for power
Yeah.
lunch, happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At
Or just
Davio's,
mail it.
it's
I'll
all
sit.
about the guest.
You won't see him.
Well, I'll see him next Thursday. That's probably when he'll give us our check, probably. And then I'll have to go deposit it at the Bank of America, like I did the last time.
I'm gonna mail out his check now.
The checks are bogus.
Alright, then I'm just gonna mail it. I'm not gonna. Or do you have stamps at your house?
I have a stamp in my car.
Do you?
Yeah.
Can you let me grab that? Can I grab it?
Yeah.
Because I'm out of
Remember.
stamps. Yeah, when we get out of here. Because I have to take him to get my car.
This guy, Blaze in KC, is a pretty good Twitter podcast. As I've said before, the Atlanta Hawks' primary function as a franchise is to be a trade partner. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
what are they doing?
Good point. Yeah, by you. It doesn't make any sense.
There's a couple franchises in that league where you're just like, what are they hoping to accomplish at some point? Like, if you're a fan of that, you're like, when are we getting to where we need to be?
Right.
Like, when's this gonna happen?
When's the plane land?
Yeah.
And co-pays on Medicare Part D.
Land the plane!
$5 and get 100 balance rewards points.
Well, you ever bet on women's college basketball?
No. Venus is playing that Coco Golf
Trusted since 1901.
girl
Co-pay savings on tier 1
in the
generic
Australian.
drugs
You should bet on that.
include Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy.
I wonder what it would cost to bet Serena in that.
On like a futures?
No, just in this match.
I don't know. The only reason why I took this bet is because she won the second set, and she was winning the first game in the third set. So you could tell that there was no lay.
What'd you have to lay for that?
I laid 25 to win like $1.80. It was 525 the odds, plus 525 England. Yeah, because she was already a heavy dog, so it went from like plus 1,000 to plus 525 England.
And what set was it in?
It was in the third and final set. She had lost the first set 7-5.
And won the second.
Won the second.
It's amazing that she was still that plus.
6-3. Something like that. 6. Yeah. Well, again though, apparently she came into it as a pretty, like as nearly a +1,000. Hey, you're gonna have to wait. Come on, you're gonna have to wait.
Philadelphia Eagles football.
Where's your bone?
Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN.
Get your bone.
Yo, yo, yo.
Jacob Media Sports Network.
All right, great.
With 97.3 ESPN brings you the Mays and Aton Show. Middays with Harry Mays and Aton Shander. Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Well, we got a bunch of things to chat about with our next guest, and
Been a while.
it has been a while, and hopefully he doesn't think that it's something on us. In fact, we probably just assumed he was done with us.
He's very busy, and I didn't know if he'd ever come back on the show.
It hasn't been that long. You make it seem like it's been since the first week of our program we've
No,
had Jeff
but
McLean on.
it's been, I think, early in the football season. Though.
Well, shame on us
Yeah.
for not bringing him back sooner. And we're always happy enough when Jeff is kind enough to spend some time with us. And doing that, we bring him on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. A lot of stuff going on locally here with changes and this offseason that is going to be highly anticipated. We still have the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl to come. Not sure how much you'll be traveling for that, Jeff. But thanks as always for joining Harry and myself on the guest line. Thanks again. How's it going today, man?
Good, how are you guys doing?
Great.
Good. Go ahead, Harry.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd first like to just get Jeff's impression of that unbelievably entertaining press conference that we witnessed last week. Just like really, you know, when you think about it, what was the real purpose of doing it when they did it, given what happened shortly thereafter?
Yeah, I mean, it almost seemed like they weren't prepared for what may possibly occur. Now, they typically do a press conference after the season. Actually, they're obligated to give you somebody from the front office.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as if Doug has to do it. Doug did speak after the game, but they gave us Doug, and I think really the main reason for Doug being there is to answer questions about the coaching staff. Howie, though, had a lot more to answer for because he hadn't spoken until since the start of the season, since before the start of the season, and obviously with the offseason coming, had to really not kind of know where he stood in relation to how he viewed the year and what could possibly be done moving forward. I thought that Howie actually had one of his better news conferences. Came out, kind of took fault for some of the stuff that he looked at in terms of the roster building, and yet he, in some ways defended himself and made some salient points about why the team was structured the way it was. He felt like he could still kind of capture the magic from the 2017 Super Bowl team, try to yet again admitted to falling in love with certain players that have been with the Eagles and helped them win before to a fault, but admitted that they need to get younger. And they needed to kind of look at certain positions like wide receiver and cornerback and improve the situation there. Doug, meanwhile, seemed like he was just kind of ready for the all season. He was already looking at going into golf mode because we certainly grilled him on his coaching staff and we kind of cornered him on whether Mike Rowe and Carson Walsh would return. Obviously, the two guys I think a lot of people were fixated on based upon the performance of the offense, and he said both were back. And then later on, when he was asked about Jim Schwartz's future, he was kind of a little more dubious about whether Jim would be back. Now, some of that may have to do with the fact that Jim was interviewing for the Browns head coaching job, but he just didn't do a very good job of explaining himself. And he just came out and said, you know what, I haven't evaluated the position yet, the coaches yet, and when I get to that, then I'll decide upon the futures. And he just said that from the beginning. I think everyone would understand where he was coming from. But he was all over the place, and then a day later we find out that Rowe and Walsh were going to be fired. He had yet to even meet with Jeff Lurie by the time he took to the podium that day. So I was like, well, how did he make any final decisions until he's spoken to the owner?
Right.
And I heard through various channels that Doug was telling people that those guys were returning, but Lurie, meanwhile, had decided that he didn't want either back. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily meant that Doug was forced to fire both those guys, but Jeff is the owner, and he certainly has influence, and Doug talks to him, and that may have factored into that decision ultimately.
How you used the word unprepared, and it definitely looks like that. And also just in Doug's press conferences, we've seen this before, right? Where maybe something is said, and then either and action is done by the team that's reverse or opposite, or it just doesn't happen.
Contradicts what's been said.
Yes. How much of it is, and I don't know if either will truly change, but maybe it will help people understand what's going on, and you're there and you've seen it firsthand. How much of it, Jeff, is really, and it could be a balance, but is them just continuing to at least give the optics that they're unprepared versus this emotional outburst that seems to want to come out of Doug Peterson no matter what the content and context is of any press conference?
I think Doug was prepared. I think, the PR staff said, okay, these are the questions that are coming to you. What are your answers? And maybe he just kind of just lost track of how he wanted to give those answers. I mean, we've seen that
Right.
from Doug going back as far as his opening press conference. Doug isn't very quick with the trigger, especially when it comes to being asked to answer questions. And I think there are solutions since then. It's been just be like stonewall. Don't say anything, or certainly when it comes to injuries. And I think that's, with the season's over, maybe just kind of let himself slip and just wasn't prepared to answer the questions. That's my feeling on it. I do feel that he was prepared to go to bat for both those guys as well, though. I think Doug viewed the end of the season as kind of a, as if they had saved their, certainly Mike Rowe. I think Walsh was gone no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he felt that Mike Rowe and the offense had shown enough at the end of the season to warrant his return. But I'm sure with the meeting with Jeffrey and when he looked at things a little closely, he just realized that maybe it was time to move on. I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. And let me just add this real quick, Harry, with Jeff. I wonder what surprised, or I guess I wouldn't even wonder this. I think what surprised people the most out of those couple of days, maybe that stretch of a week, wasn't even what Doug said and then the guys getting fired the next day, but of all people getting hired, getting plucked, and not fired, it was Corey Unland.
Yeah, you think that surprised you?
Yeah, and look, not me per se, like, oh man, Corey Unland should have been fired, but I think that based on the conversations had throughout the year, that there were a lot of people routinely frustrated with Jim Schwartz, and that trickled down to Corey Unland with the secondary, the D-backs, and for him to get a job and not be another guy fired along the lines of the offensive coordinators and position coach, I thought it was met with surprise.
Yeah, not by me, and I think by other reporters and by the people in the building, and certainly the players who played for Corey Unland. Look, I mean, the quarterbacks haven't been good here, but I've always said that has more to do with talent than it really does have to do with coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I think Corey Unland, at least talking to the players, whenever I'd say, well, what if Schwartz leaves? Who internally you think would take that job? And they always mention Corey Unland. A lot of the players respect. I just read a story on The Athletic where teacher on Corey Unland and Malcolm Jenkins was quoted as saying that he really helped his game in terms of teaching him how to play more press coverage. When you have a guy of that caliber and that experience saying that far in his career, that he was learning something new from someone like Corey Unland. I think that speaks volumes. So it wasn't really a surprise to me that Corey could move on in that regard. When you're inside the building, you get a little bit of a sense of what's going on. And
Yeah.
you probably see here, Mike Rowe will be demoted. He'll probably take a wide receivers coach job somewhere, and Carson Walsh will, I don't know, the dustman of history. I think, I don't know if we'll ever see him in the NFL again. And I think that'll say a lot about those two and how the league views both of them.
Jeff McClain, Philadelphia Eagles beat reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Follow him on Twitter at Jeff_McClain. Now, a lot of names are now off the board. Joe Brady going to the Carolina Panthers. Joe Moorhead out at Oregon. Pat Shurmur got another job with the Broncos. O'Connell from the Redskins to the Rams. DeFilippo from the Jaguars to the Bears now. Are the Eagles still, obviously they need an offensive coordinator. Are they looking at Deuce Staley seriously for this? Or have they shifted their focus to this quarterback's coach in Baltimore?
Yeah, well, James Irvin is certainly someone I felt that they would have an eye on. Mike Haskett, quarterback coach with the Chiefs, would be another guy I would think may have a chance of getting a promotion. Mike had been here previously as backup quarterback.
Right, he's a Northwestern guy, right?
Northwestern guy.
Yeah.
Smart guy. All knows his stuff and is learning under two pretty good offensive guys in Andy Reid and right now Eric Bieniemy. But well. So those would be two of the quarterback coaches I could see, and possibly Chris Taylor internally could get promoted. They'd be three guys I fixate on because they're looking for guys to bump up to from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator. As for Deuce, I think this isn't a good situation for him. Deuce is a running back coach. Deuce has been a running back. They have a run game coordinator in Jeff Stoutland, offensive line coach. Yeah, you have to know a lot about the passing game, passing concepts, pass route concepts. You have to be a step ahead of the curve in this league at all times. I'm not saying Deuce can't be that guy. I just haven't heard that he is that guy. That's not his wheelhouse. I mean, I could see Deuce being a head coach before I could see him being an offensive coordinator.
Okay.
So I don't think that Deuce is going to be promoted here, unless they were to bring in someone else when they were, to split the job up in some ways. I don't see him being offensive coordinator in the way that Mike Rowe was.
Gotcha.
So really more basically essentially the passing game coordinator. And the passing game is significantly more diverse, much more detailed, and more important, quite frankly, than the run game in today's NFL. So my expectation is that Deuce will get the job. At least someone that we mentioned in terms of someone getting promotion in the quarterback position, or someone else maybe who's been around the block a little more, who's willing to take kind of a reduction in their job and that they don't call plays anymore. Ben McAdoo, Jay Gruden, Marty Morningweg, Jim Caldwell, guys who've been around older who are okay with maybe taking on that kind of role.
Marty Morningweg, I didn't know he was available. So.
He is. Marty took a year off. Like that.
No, I was just joking because it would be what, third time?
I think it's the third time, isn't it?
Yeah. Not that it would be a bad one. It's just funny that he'd be back again.
No, he'd be a second time for the Eagles. Well, here's the thing with Marty, and this is why I don't understand Eagles fans. You look back at Marty's numbers as offensive coordinator with the Eagles, and he's been top 10 every year, both in scoring and yards gained. I understand some people. I understand how people view things around here. You want a new name, and you think with a new name that brings, rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, but to your point.
He worked with Doug previously many years ago, all the way back to Green Bay. He knows the offense as well, West Coast offense as well, the terminology as well as anybody. We've seen him tutor quarterbacks into some of the best performances of their careers. Guys that typically hadn't been playing at that level. Michael Vick being one, Jeff Garcia, if you recall, both in San Francisco and with Philadelphia. And I think that's what they need with Carson Wentz. Wentz is not a finished product yet. And that he certainly factors into the equation of what you want from an offensive coordinator. Someone has to be able to work with them. But at the same time, I don't want you bringing in, and if I'm the Eagles, I wouldn't want to bring in a guy who's a yes man to Carson. We need somebody to challenge him. And I think Marty would be that way, and I think some of these older guys would be that way. And I'm not sure when you bring in someone like, you promote Chris Taylor, or if you bring in a younger guy like Mike Haskett. Well, James Irvin's been around a while, but certainly someone younger, you wonder how they would handle that situation.
No, and I think that it's almost counterproductive to bring in somebody who's young with great innovative stretch ideas if Doug Peterson doesn't need that and he needs more of somebody to work directly with Carson Wentz. So with that said, what's the second most important job for the new offensive coordinator, Jeff, outside of all of the attention, direction, and education spent towards Carson Wentz, the quarterback?
Well, no, I think number one is team. I mean, I think you need someone to bring in fresh ideas. You need someone, not just fresh ideas, you need to be looking at the league and seeing, again, as I said this earlier, you need to be one step ahead of defensive coordinators in the league. They catch on so quickly. And we saw that in 2017, they were a step, but then they weren't able to adapt in 2018 and 19 as well, and that hurt them. And I think a lot of that falls on Mike Rowe, because that's the big part of his job. But yeah, if that's one A, then one B would be the quarterback situation. I mean, if you have to play to his strengths, I mean, certainly, the quarterback coach has a lot more time with the quarterback than the offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator is meeting with them and they're spending time together. But, he has to do more in terms of playing to his strengths and working with him, certainly when it comes to scheme. But I don't want someone
Hey Jeff, what do you think happens with either Jason Peters or Malcolm Jenkins for next season with the Eagles, with or without the Eagles?
I think Peters is, I think Peters is gone.
Okay.
I can't imagine him wanting to play for someone else, and I don't know if any team would be willing. Maybe, maybe it's possible. A team that's close and all of a sudden needs a left tackle for 1 year. Maybe you do that. Unless you want to take a lesser role, and I just don't even know if you want that to happen. Look, you don't spend a first round pick on Andre Dillard to have him sit for 2 years,
Right.
especially when he's played a little bit and shown that he can perform at that level. So Peters is all but gone in my book. And Malcolm Jenkins, of the older guys, not going to be the guy I'd be most inclined to bring back. Of course, it's going to come down to his contract. Malcolm has said he's not coming back on that deal, and I know people say, oh, well, the guy on the contract forced him to play that final year. Well, that's not the way things will probably play out. And I think he'd be willing to sit out at this point in his career, or it can force a trade by sitting out. So either, I think right now it looks like it's either the Eagles sign this sort of deal, maybe a 3-year deal to not a full 2 years guaranteed, but maybe one and a little more in change to an option for both sides, or a trade. But Malcolm is so important to that defense, not only in performance but also in leadership, and he's a coach on the field. He watches as much film as the coaches, really knows what's going on, and a lot of times doesn't show up in plays. It just shows up that he's just covering ground for guys. Sometimes he'll just instinctively make a play, but you don't realize he's covering for someone who has made a mistake.
All right. Are you heading down to the Super Bowl this year, Jeff?
I am. Yeah, I'll be there.
So when you're looking at the 4 teams that are left, is there, I guess the Titans might jump out, but is there an obvious storyline that you think would dominate the Super Bowl? If it's Andy Reid winning his, if it's Mike Vrabel and the Titans coming out of nowhere, the Niners and what they've done out west and Shanahan, or maybe one more shot for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers?
I think Andy finally winning one nationally would be the number one story of those 4 teams. I think probably number 2 would be Rodgers winning one 10 years after he won his first, and really cementing his legacy as one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks of all time. And then Titans have a little bit of a kind of a Eagles 2017 flavor to them, with Tannehill taking
Yep.
over and guiding this team. But I think much different scenarios in various ways, but certainly a little bit of a Cinderella aspect to that squad. And they can get it done. I mean, I think stylistically they could be trouble for the Chiefs, who aren't really good at stopping the run. I think that game will actually be close. The 49ers is obviously, I guess, the team that has been one of the greatest franchises for about 2 decades. All of a sudden, kind of getting back in the limelight under a really one of the best young coaches in the league, Kyle Shanahan.
Who do you think makes it? If you had to make picks today? Who do you think is in the Super Bowl?
I think the Chiefs and 49ers to win. I think the teams to win. I think the Chiefs Titans one will be close, as I mentioned before. I think the Packers are just not that good of a team. Obviously the big edge is at quarterback.
Yep.
And a lot of times when I pick games, I say, oh, who's got the better quarterback? I'll go with the better quarterback, and I'll worry about Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think under pressure he makes mistakes, but I don't think Shanahan will place him in those situations too much. Whereas Aaron can get it done on his own. He's not as athletic, or his arms not near perhaps as strong as it used to be. He's still obviously top notch in both regards. But if the Packers win, it'll be because of Rodgers, and if the 49ers lose, it will be because of Garoppolo. So I see 49ers, and I think that would make for a very good Super Bowl.
How about the year Mostert's having? I remember not too long ago him having a great preseason with the Eagles.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Seems like every year the Eagles have, undrafted rookie or some guys bounce on the league, come in and perform well in the preseason. Everyone wants him to make the roster. Henry Josie, I remember being another one. Had other receivers too.
Greg Ward.
Yep.
Perform well, and Ward obviously coming back and doing it here. But he could be one that got away for the Eagles. That being said, I think what year was that? Was that 2017 or 16?
Yeah, I forget. I just know that Miami signed him off their practice squad initially.
Yeah, I mean, things turned out fine with them in terms of the running back position in 2017 and the Super Bowl.
Right.
Last year it was an issue, but now they have Miles Sanders. But yeah, nice to see her. He was a nice kid, doing a nice job there. Complimentary back with Devin Coleman. Could be another storyline for me to do when when I'm at Miami.
That's what we're trying to do here.
Right.
You know?
Right. All right.
Fun if it's Chiefs 49ers, man.
Yeah, right.
Well, the season just right itself, you know, with Sean McCoy, certainly with Mike Kafka. The Eagles haven't hired an offensive coordinator at that point. You look at Mike Kafka, maybe Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur, I'm sorry, who was is it Mike? The brother of Matt. He's the passing game coordinator with the 49ers. Could be someone the Eagles are looking at as well.
Oh, okay.
Coordinator. Yeah, so, yeah, a lot of storylines there. 49ers, Nico Ryan is the linebackers coach, inside linebackers coach there. So, a lot of local flavor would be in Miami if we were to do Chiefs 49ers.
All right, Jeff, last one for you, and appreciate you hopping on with us. Know it's a busy time as you get ready to head down to Miami for a week or so. Will Odell Beckham be on Radio Row, or will he be fighting a lawsuit at that time?
I don't know. I've never seen him there before. A lot of top players do come
Right.
there for earn a couple extra bucks or so. I don't recall ever seeing Odell do that.
He might need a GoFundMe, like an Innocence tour.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of following this. I kind of find the thing all out. Is he under arrest or something?
There's an arrest warrant.
There's a warrant out for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
for slapping the backside of some security guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't we have better things to do with our time?
Well, yeah, we could watch the Drew Pearson not getting into the Hall of Fame video on repeat.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, Harold Carmichael to me was a better wide receiver. Drew was good, obviously good receiver.
Sure.
Mhm.
I think he certainly benefited from the Cowboys being successful throughout that decade, as the Eagles weren't for most of Harold's career. But Harold was one of the best of his era, and honestly would probably be the best of this year. He'd be tight end at this point in his career, but at this point in the NFL. But he would be he'd be dominant tight end in this league. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, how about that? With that kind of height, I mean,
Harold's an all-timer. He's just one of those, he slipped through the cracks. He should have gotten in there at some point, but it's really tough to get in the NFL and the Football Hall of Fame. It's only taking 5 a year, so, geez, you think about it. So many players, and I think sometimes guys, so, good on the NFL for having the centennial, whatever, I guess they're putting in a total of 25 guys, kind of correct some of the
Yep.
right,
mistakes.
make up for
I think have benefited.
some oversights.
Numbers alone, Harold hasn't beat. So, well, anyway, I know we're off topic here.
No,
No, that's all right.
That's the show.
Last
we
one
were-
for real. I see on your
I
Twitter.
said that 3 questions.
No, I
now
said
now
this
you
is
know
for
why
real.
McLean doesn't answer your texts
Well,
about coming on the show.
This is for real.
25
though.
minutes.
I saw on his Twitter all or
Anthony
nothing.
doesn't keep the guy this long.
Yeah, he does. The 2019 Eagles All or Nothing series is starting on Amazon in early February. Have you gotten any sneak peek? Is it worth it? Is it like does it look good?
I haven't. I mean, I saw those guys always kind of wandering around in the locker rooms, press conferences. They went to places, a lot of behind-the-scene areas that we couldn't go to. So I'm interested. I'm both interested and kind of fearful of what may be shown because it would just mean I had to scramble and report upon it, or geez, God, how did I miss this storyline? They have access, but I think the Eagles get to view and have discussions about what's being shown.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much. We'll see. We'll see. Because I know stuff was happening behind the scenes that the Eagles didn't want out there, and juicy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, we kind of touched upon it. I reported it here and there, but if that isn't shown and they had access to such a meeting, then I'll think that the Eagles were able to kind of get that squashed and not be shown on the show.
Sounds interesting. February 7th.
Wait a second. Is there anything that you can link, a column or something you wrote that you can link now to us talking on the air that people can either read ahead of time to maybe be prepared for something?
I don't know about that, but I mean, whatever. They've talked about player-only meetings. They've talked about discussions about the anonymous quotes that were that came out of the ESPN reporter and how they addressed it one time in a team meeting. So that,
Okay.
That's good stuff.
Reported on that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting to see that stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
Absolutely.
As live, person to person.
All right, Jeff, we appreciate it, man. Thanks
Thank you so much, Jeff.
and enjoy Radio Row and the Super Bowl. We'll see you down there. There he is, Jeff McClain of the Philly Inquirer. You got to follow him on Twitter at Jeff_McClain. He's on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. If it's been a while since you reviewed your commercial insurance coverages, I guarantee you those renewals are increasing year after year after year. You got to call managing partner Kevin McAdams at Lighthouse right now. 800-691-1686 and online at lighthouse.ins.biz.
All right, 1:30, right around the corner here. Got a couple of things from the McClain interview we can react to that he said. And before we get out of here...
Text board, too.
Yes, I was just about to say we have a bunch happening here with the text board. So 609-403-0973, live on Twitch as well, the Mays and Aton channel up, and we're rolling.
You're listening to the Mays and Aton Show, presented by Tri-Dollar
Anthony doesn't keep this.
Hey,
Jeff, can you stay through the break? He did that.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
With Jeff?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, you know what's funny? He did a couple of those today.
You know what's funny?
Yeah, and then it's whatever he said. It really isn't funny.
No. It's just a crush.
Right. It's like a transitional thing that he does.
Yeah. No, I get that.
You're Judas. You know what's funny?
Do they even have a program director?
No.
There's always something to bet on at Parks Casino.
I had to mute Camille on Instagram. It's like after every Sixers game at home, there's pictures all over Instagram of this kid down on the court, pregame, dribbling the basketball, and, yucking it up with the players and in his jersey. It's,
Really?
I've had it, yeah. I just muted him today. I didn't realize you could mute people on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
ParksCasino.com/PA and use our promo code SWEET.
Oh, it's fine.
This season, the Eagles pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game days. So don't just celebrate the Eagles from the sidelines. Head to Dunkin' and get a kick before the kickoff. Plus, DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles win this season. Just use your Perks Enrolled Dunkin' card or show your loyalty ID. Eagles fans, run on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest per visit. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Malamut and Associates is South Jersey's endorsed and preferred personal injury and workers' compensation firm, specializing in finding success during your greatest time of need. Managing partner Adam Malamut's history in South Jersey is heralded with recognition and awards. Yet his approach to law is rather simple: to serve each and every client until justice has been served. Get connected with Adam at malamutlaw.com and let the power of Malamut and Associates represent you when it matters most. Malamut and Associates, South Jersey's best.
It's human nature to care for one another. It can be as simple as sharing an umbrella, holding the door, or lending a hand. At Independence Blue Cross, we've been doing our part too for the last 80 years, providing access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals, as well as offering nurse health coaches and gym reimbursements. Because we believe there's caring in all of us. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at ibx.com.
Welcome to 2 Street and welcome to Tollman Joe's. Tollman Joe's in the heart of South Philly is Tony Bruno's home on Eagles game day and your spot for free. Free parking every Eagles game day. Get to Tollman Joe's 3 hours before kickoff, 26 East Oregon Avenue. Hi, this is Tony Bruno. I'll see you on game day at Tollman Joe's. If you're a golfer looking to pick up a few strokes on the golf course, you should get these 4 words into your training and lifestyle. Traditional
It's
Mhm.
relaxing and
Right.
energizing without oil and
What is it? Oh, these are the balls. Bandit. No, the bandit,
Look
cuz.
what the right, the other side of this.
Oh.
There you go. They have like the whole.
High energy core. Durable cut resistant DuPont lithium cover. Aerodynamic dimple pattern.
Mhm.
More carry, more roll, maximum distance. See, the more roll can get you in trouble.
Well, especially on that course.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is on that course, I don't necessarily want a lot of roll,
No.
but there are a couple of holes where,
Oh, the bandit, cuz.
like 9. You know 9 where you go down and then you come back
Yeah,
up.
come back up. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So that you could hit it down, you get a roll. The problem with now is you're not getting roll
Isn't
on
there
anything.
water at the bottom of that?
There's a little bit of a strip, yeah, but I mean you'd have to hit it like 280
Yeah.
off the men's to get down there. But with that and a roll, you probably could.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like you get a 7 or an 8 from there.
Depending on how dry it is. I mean,
And that's the thing. You can't get any roll now.
no.
Have you
can't.
noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
Is it because it's cold or wet?
Well, it's because the ground was frozen, and then when it gets warm, the water comes up out of the ground, and it's just soft as shit.
What's the hole? It's on the back 9 that goes down and then bends a little to the left, and you have to hit it on a green that's surrounded by a little bit of it's like 13 or 14, something like that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I
You tee
do,
off
but I don't
downhill.
know what numbers. I've only played the golf course once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
only played it once.
But you tee off downhill, and then you eventually, the other day when we all went out on Sunday, I teed off and the ball landed like,
In the ground.
if this is the top of the ground,
Yeah,
it landed like
embedded,
this deep.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the now that was a legal ball, it wasn't even illegal.
Mhm.
Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, embedded. They were playing lift, clean, and place in Hawaii all week
Really?
because there was so much water from all the rain they've gotten.
Alright, we'll be at Parks Casino tomorrow from noon to 2, so make sure you come out. Or just use the Parks Casino app. Or just go online, parkscasino.com/PA, use our promo code SWEEP, and get a risk-free bet up to $500. And now you know that everybody needs to come out and make some sort of social statement about the criminal justice system,
Oh,
about
yeah.
Odell Beckham
Oh,
Jr.'s past, about whether or not he deserves it, and my goodness, look at all the other things happening. I just think it's hilarious now that we're reaching the point where 4 people sitting down on a highly paid budget of a production can sit on ESPN, ESPN2, Fox Sports, whatever, and just go back and forth and yell. Look, if you're going to say that New Orleans has way more crime to pay attention to than what Odell Beckham Jr. is, then you're a hypocrite for turning on these television shows and watching and reacting to
Oh, I
them
know.
talking. It's the same thing.
Well,
it's like, think about all the other things they should be focused on as opposed to this.
Well, yeah, and speaking of being focused, why are you focused on an LSU player smoking a cigar, a couple puffs of a cigar after winning a national championship? Really?
I've never heard of
Was
this
he going to
before.
burn the Superdome down?
Has this happened before, where people have gotten in
I have
trouble
no
for
idea.
smoking indoors? All right. Well, we
I
have
know
2.
you would at my house.
Yeah. Well,
And
here
too.
yeah, here,
You're not allowed to.
No. Well, it's not that I'm not allowed to. It's just I like down here I wouldn't smoke. It's a smoke-free house.
Yeah,
You know, I
it's
can
frowned upon in this
It is.
establishment.
It is, and I can respect that because it's not smoke-free outside, so there's
Right.
give and take. So 2 things have happened since the beginning of the show. One, we did mention the whole thing about Fultz, and I'll speak for me, not for you, Harry, which is I think it's just a distraction. Like, I don't get why somebody would bring that up in regards to the Sixers, unless, of course, you're opening up your track record for all the things you got right and wrong in the last 5 years. Like, hey, Harry, did you know that I said the Sixers should trade MCW before they traded MCW?
Right.
Did you know that?
Right,
I'm a
right.
genius.
Right.
And there's so many issues with the Sixers right now to focus on that it didn't matter if they had Fultz, Butler, Covington, Dario, whatever, they're still the same thing. And also, we should mention this, that it looks like the terminology is stepped down, not fired,
Oh,
right?
Beltran? Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Carlos Beltran?
Beltran stepping down as Mets manager, sources tell The Athletic, according to Ken Rosenthal. Is that the old Johnny Miller?
Well, yeah.
Beltran.
Beltran. Carlos Beltran. Yeah, I noticed that too. That some people were saying he was fired, and then the Athletic put out, I think it was Rosenthal saying,
Yeah, I just read
obviously,
that.
You know, that step down. So who knows? Regardless,
Well,
he was probably going to get fired.
Yeah, and then that's probably the difference is the weight of the franchise.
Now
Mr.
what do they
Integrity, Fred Wilpon, came down on him.
Well, right now what do? They go? They go old school with Showalter, who's still out there. Didn't get the Phillies job.
Remember, I gave you odds on who the next Red Sox manager will be. Can you start to apply these same names? I'll give you Ron
Jason
Rennick.
Varitek.
Varitek's plus 300. This was on January 15th, 1244, according to Sportsline, so it might have changed.
Okay.
And again, they've created these odds. But Ron Rennick minus 200, Jason Varitek plus 300.
Varitek was a great Red Sox. He's a catcher. I think he'd probably be a good manager.
Okay, so that's a great example. He's number 2 on this list to be the manager of the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Does he fit any mold to be the manager of the Mets? Wouldn't you, if you're Jason Varitek, first and foremost push to be the Sox manager?
Yeah.
Are you the same guy if you come into the Mets organization? You don't have the lure, the history, all that with Boston.
No, I think he'd be an easy sell for Boston.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's an easy sell for the Mets.
Do the Mets go back to Terry Collins as an interim guy just for this year?
Just for fun?
Yeah.
What's Bobby Valentine doing right now?
I don't. He's running. Isn't he an athletic
Sacred
director
Heart?
at Sacred Heart?
I don't think that lasted that long.
Oh, it did.
No, to be honest with you,
Jeez.
I don't think that was. Look, that man is a legend in Stamford, Connecticut. Rightfully so. The guy did a ton for. No, I guess he still is.
He still is.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought that kind of ran its course. But no, I apologize. I take it back. He still is.
Oh, but you mentioned.
Man, I tell you though, that guy is like, and rightfully so, because he did a lot for Stamford, Connecticut, Southern Connecticut. But you just. When I worked with him briefly at NBC Sports Radio, and you'd be in Stamford, like, oh, but go to his restaurant, whatever. It's like you mention that man's name, and
he's like the mayor.
I was gonna say, it's like mentioning Pete Thompson's name in Atlantic City by like a million.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And Stanford's not that much bigger.
Now you mentioned we're going to be at Parks tomorrow. Do you know who's there this weekend that I've been getting calls for to see if I have any hookups for tickets?
Give me, just narrow it down. Is it musician, comedian?
Musicians, band, group, not a band, they're a group.
I'm gonna guess newly inducted Doobie Brothers.
No, are you kidding me?
No.
Because if anybody's asking me for tickets, I'd be
You'd
like,
be getting
no, I'm
tickets.
going.
So this is a band that you don't have any interest
Not really.
in. Belle Biv DeVoe.
They were big in the 90s, I think.
Belle Biv
Yes,
DeVoe.
Belle Biv DeVoe is
No.
there Saturday night
No.
at the Excite
Are you
Center.
serious?
I swear to God. Yeah.
That was a complete guess.
No, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Belle Biv DeVoe.
I
Now,
was getting hit up last night for tickets.
who do you think is the biggest draw for people that are hitting you up? Do they want to see Michael Bevins or
I don't know. I don't know who they are.
DeVoe? You don't think they want to see DeVoe?
DeVoe. I'm just joking with you.
All right, 609-403-0970.
We're being yelled at to go to the text.
Well, I'm hitting it. Sixers should have drafted DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo, yeah, from Villanova.
DiVincenzo, right?
Yeah.
Instead of Smith.
Well, he's an explosive player. Be a nice bench player. You know?
Maybe.
He's with the Bucks, right?
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes, he
You're
is.
right. You're right. Speaking of Heather Watson, not Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Here you go.
Okay.
When you just bought the Gwyneth Paltrow candle and you want a side-by-side comparison, Boston Gary gave us a awful picture of some woman standing in line or in an aisle at a supermarket with her hand down her pants.
Oh God.
That is
That
not
is
a comparison
disgusting.
I want to make.
Oh.
By no means do I want to make that.
Thank you, Boston.
Can we
Gary.
trade Joel Embiid for someone that will last a whole season? B in Summers Point. No, that's not going to happen. Rick and EHT, at some point, a Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle must have smelled like apple.
Yeah, that's her kid's name, Apple. One of her kids that she had with the guy from Coldplay. Well, Chris Martin, I think is his name.
Okay.
Is that his name, Josh?
Yeah.
I think it's Chris
so.
Martin. I think it's Chris Martin.
All right, so
Yeah,
would that
Apple.
be something now? It's a whole play on word. The fact that Apple is the name of their child. Maybe that is.
Is it a green apple?
What's the other one?
Chris Martin. You're
What's the other?
Well,
The
what's
Granny
Yellow
Apple. Granny
Delicious.
Smith? Yeah.
Yellow Delicious.
And a Granny Smith, right?
Granny Smith.
John Candy and Aykroyd played two characters in Nothing But Trouble, right? But it's not the actual star. That's what I'm saying. Like Van Damme did that. Jet Li did that.
What was the Van Damme movie?
Double Trouble.
Double Trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a typical Van Damme movie where he played one guy that was like clean cut, and he played the other guy that was the Maverick, and they had to work together. And
I remember my ex, the ex-wife was really into him.
Van
At one
Damme.
point, yes.
Is that right?
No, I'm talking like early 90s,
Well,
right? Aren't we talking early 90s?
You're talking blood sports back then, kickboxer, where it was just about showing him with his shirt off.
Right, but I mean, like, even then when he tried to become sort of an actor in those movies.
Yeah, that's when there was one that he did with one of the Arquettes. I want to say Rosanna Arquette.
Okay.
Is that right?
Well, she is one of the Arquettes.
Yes, and I think it was her in there. And that tried to present him as like some truly emotionally in tune guy who was a misunderstood drifter, and he really tried to play. He was his best when it was just going out there and killing somebody. Right? I mean, that's Van Damme.
Just
at his
do
best.
you. Okay?
Yeah, just stay in your lane, right?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. There was one where he was with, what's the old guy? Hard Target is the name of the movie. And Lance Henriksen is the bad guy. You know Lance Henriksen?
No, who's he?
What?
I don't know him by name.
You don't know Lance Henriksen?
Well, not by name. I might know him if I saw him.
Bishop in Alien.
I
is
couldn't
what
pick
he's known.
Lance Henriksen out of a lineup.
Is that right? Maybe Lance Henriksen isn't as famous as I thought he was. You know, here I am thinking he's a pretty famous actor.
Is it Henriksen or Henderson?
He was in this great movie, Dead Man. Johnny Depp was in it. It's a black and white film about basically purgatory. It's one of the best soundtracks in the history of westerns.
Okay.
Where you had Neil Young do just riffs.
Oh, yeah?
He just created these. So it was, in a sitcom where you have that bouncing in and out of breaks.
Yeah.
Where it's like they play music, or maybe in between segments where they'll have one time with one character and another with Seinfeld. Every sitcom does it.
Right.
They had Neil Diamond lay out a bunch of these original guitar riffs that would transition from different scenes.
Okay.
It's pretty cool, man.
That sounds good.
But anyway, Lance Henriksen, back to that, was in
Nowhere to Run was the one with Rosanna Arquette.
Thank you.
All right, with Van Damme.
Maybe Lance Henriksen isn't that famous.
I never heard of him. Hard Target, I think. I've seen that.
Well, that's Lance Henriksen.
Okay, I've seen that.
And he's the bad guy. They hunt people down in Louisiana in the bayou.
Yeah, he's not even mentioned here. Time Cop. That was another one I saw.
Lance Henriksen, stud in that. Right? No, you're talking about Van Damme.
Yeah,
I don't think Lance Henriksen was in.
Get off the Henriksen.
Look, Time Cop wasn't a bad concept. It was just poorly executed. It's a 4th and 1 play call that should have worked. The guy just dropped the football.
Yeah, it's what happened to the Ravens.
Yes.
A bunch of 4th and 1s.
And it's what they did well, pardon me, all year. And Vrabel just took it away.
Back after this.
Listen to Mays and Aton anywhere.
Okay, very good, guys. I'm good with it.
I love that.
That's hilarious. That was one of the funniest things, man.
South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey is 97.3
Yeah.
ESPN. Listen to Saunders and Steve Coates call all the action tonight.
I would have never known his name by what he said, but now that I see it, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
One of those really good thrillers.
Yes.
It's like not like a thriller.
Right. Exactly right. No, I agree. It is. See, I never saw The Blacklist.
It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, it looks like he's been in a bunch of
That's a
them.
pretty good show, The Blacklist. It's not bad.
Yeah, he's like the bad guy you go to when you can't get the main bad guy you want.
The guy I never liked on The Blacklist was the female lead's boyfriend, husband, I guess. Yeah, he's in that New Amsterdam show. He was a doctor or something now. He's a douche.
Wild turkey bourbon bacon jam, fried white cheddar cheese curds, and jalapeno hollandaise with onions.
Yeah,
James Spader's really
he's
good.
good.
Order yours now from the White Public House, conveniently
I tell you, this Jack Ryan thing is getting better and better every episode.
How many episodes are you in?
I've got one more left in season 1. It's
How
only,
many seasons
I think
are
there's
there?
only 9 episodes in the first
And it's
season.
just one season?
No, there's like 2 seasons, I think.
He's dude. I'm looking at this. One has been announced. One's in post or pre-production. One's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in post-production. Holy shit!
Yeah, there's only 16 episodes. There's actually 8 episodes, I guess, per season. There's 16 episodes.
16 episodes total.
And this is season. Yeah, season 2 is the last one. Wendell Pierce Bunk is just great. He's great. The love interest of Jack Ryan, I'm not a big fan of. No, she's got blondish hair. She's like an epidemiologist working on Ebola, and she's got like a big face. She's got like kind of a big round head. I don't know. I'm all about thick girls, but not thick-faced girls. Yeah. So what's going on in the sports bash today? Huh? I couldn't hear what you said. Ah.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Messiah?
Not Messiah College.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
So do I.
Bishop, he played one of the more iconic roles in that Alien trilogy, or I guess first couple. I think he dies in Aliens, right? That's what I'm saying. I think he dies in Aliens. But he would like Bishop it's Ripley and then Bishop. What's that? Oh, maybe they. I don't know. I don't know. I forget what that was. The one with I think it was not. Was it Demi Moore who shaved her head for that? Remember? Hold on. And I think they were. I think they had like some sort of cloning technology where they brought him back, right? Okay. Briefly, I don't remember being super disappointed with that movie. I just remember it being like, okay.
Love a shaved head.
It wasn't a bad movie. She actually looked pretty good.
She looks good in anything. Same with the other one. What the hell's her name?
I didn't realize that he was in so many video games.
Sigourney Weaver. Love Sigourney Weaver.
Well, she was in that too.
Yeah. I dated a girl at Temple, looked just like her.
No, it's not Demi Moore. It's Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
Right. I thought that there was a younger girl in there too, for some reason, beyond Sigourney. But I guess she was the one with the shaved head. I missed it. Couple minutes winding down here, and we gave you the Beltran news.
Yeah, we got more news.
There's more stuff coming out?
Well, not so much about Beltran.
Oh, do you see this about...
Yeah, but about
Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown.
Now, I have the tweet up. You want me to read it?
What, Schefter's tweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, just read it, because you know it's bad when this guy says, I'm no longer associating myself with you.
Agent Drew Rosenhaus conditionally terminated his relationship with Antonio Brown today until the free agent wide receiver seeks counsel, per an NFLPA source. Rosenhaus wrote in the letter that the NFLPA received today that he would like to work with Brown, but not until he gets help first.
Do you think there's really somebody can help him?
I think that you would have to bring on a very high-level, accomplished psychiatrist to get into the mind of Antonio Brown.
That's a TV show.
Yeah, actually, it probably would be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's anybody right now on the planet that's a celebrity, and B, would be willing to waive his or her right to have their private therapy filmed, would it not be Antonio Brown? Like, look at this. My mom, you could just look this up. Like, you could just see it, Google it. That's fine. Like, she's very accomplished in this world, and she has worked plenty of times over with celebrities, and it's not public by any means, and she can't tell me anything like that.
No.
But if Antonio Brown sitting down with her or someone like her and having cameras film these conversations, that would be something else.
No, that'd be compelling.
That would be unheard of, that somebody would let their therapy be filmed.
I would have thought maybe Charlie Sheen would have done that. Remember when he had his meltdown and then, he's disappeared?
Yes.
Like, as a way to sort of come back a little bit into the consciousness and maybe make some money?
Yeah.
Do that. Like, have your therapy being filmed and it shows up on some, streaming service.
Well, think about it. It would be the most watched TV show of the year.
Yeah.
Right? Without a doubt. Like, it would be the most sports-driven content you would see. It would dominate this ridiculous Aaron Hernandez thing or anything else.
And I heard good reviews about that today. I heard a guy who I listened to watched it and raved about it.
I don't know why I would want to watch any type of expose.
Now I'm curious.
Curious about what, though? Like, curious about what?
Well, I mean, I think it's 3 episodes. It's not like you have to invest a whole lot of time.
I'd rather watch this new show you keep raving about. I feel like I'm going to get more of a reward watching the Jack Ryan with the dude from The Office.
It's been 2 years. It's 2 years old, but 2 seasons. And I'm almost done with season 1. I got 1 more episode. It's pretty good.
Well, you've been talking about this show a lot.
Yeah, well, it's the show that I'm on right now.
Yes, but I think that there are a lot of people that I don't know many people
and
that
Downton
watch
Abbey is another one that I'm almost done with.
How many episodes?
6 seasons.
6 seasons.
And I'm in season 6, about halfway through. Yeah.
6 seasons.
And then there's a movie.
Well, you need to get. This is like Deadwood. You need to get to the point at which you've seen the show in its entirety.
Right.
Because they're not making new episodes, or are they?
No, it's over.
So it's over. Now, when did it end?
I don't know what years it ran. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm thinking it was like kind of during the same time that Breaking Bad was running.
Okay. And probably competing in that regard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this. As far as the Phillies are concerned, do you feel a little better? The Braves lost a key guy that's no longer in this division. The Mets lost a manager. Correct, Donaldson. The Mets
He went to the Twins, I think, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The Mets just lost their manager.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a step back at the very least.
With the Nationals?
I wonder if Joe Girardi looks back at this and
I still don't like their pitching.
The Phillies?
They don't have enough pitching.
No, you're right.
They don't.
They don't. So now what? So nothing changes? It doesn't
Not
look
much.
a little bit better for the Phillies now that Beltran has hurt the Mets at least this offseason, taking a step back?
I don't know how good he would have been anyway. Maybe he would have
He would have been cheating.
No, but I'm just saying, maybe he wouldn't have been any good.
That's true. I can't put him in the Hall of I can't put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Where do you think the next technological scandal will come from? Like they were essentially using technology to capture signs out there.
Right. And everybody's been stealing signs since the beginning of time.
Correct. And here's the thing. Even in the NFL, people don't give signs in anymore. They don't send signs in anymore. That stuff's ridiculous.
Isn't the funny part of this, if there is a funny part, is that they're using technology in that they have a camera fixated on the catcher trying to get the sign. But how primitive they were in relaying whether it's a breaking pitch by banging a trash can with a bat. A plastic trash can.
Unbelievable.
That's funny.
It is funny.
That's funny.
It is funny.
You
And
know?
hence people were wondering why there was a trash can on Fox 29.
Right. Yeah, it bumped you.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. But you're right. That's ridiculous how archaic and simple the mind would be knowing that there's cameras on you.
Oh, this is high tech. They're banging a trash can with a bat.
If I take Belichick off the list, who is the next favorite, odds-on favorite, to be caught up in like hacking Bluetooth or something like that. Like we're at that point now where it's going to be next level.
Sean McVay.
You think McVay?
How about him?
Think he's smart enough for that?
Oh, he's smart.
Why did you go NFL?
I don't know. So my mind's on the NFL.
Not NBA?
No.
Not hockey?
No.
There's nothing to hack. in
We'll
hockey.
talk hockey tomorrow.
No. Really?
One. Hang for promo.
Mays and Aton Show, a Jacob Media Sports presentation.
Kepka tied for third at.
How about
Bobby
him calling
Downey.
Deschambeau out?
Yeah, Deschambeau's an ass.